Hey there! Welcome to Middle Age Crazy, the show that proves being an adult doesn't have to suck. With your host, Chuck T.
Well, hey there, welcome. What's going on? This is the Middle Age Crazy Podcast, the show that proves being an adult does not have to suck. I'm your host, Chuck T. Thanks for tuning in once again. And don't forget, this is the show on the 1st and 15th of every month that helps interesting people share their incredible stories. And of course, I have to say a big thanks to my wife, Talisha, for joining the show last week. If you tuned in, you know we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Couldn't get to my guests that we're having this week. So my wife, Talisha, graciously volunteered to come on and talk quarantine life and pretty much, discuss why it's crazy to be, cooped up for 4 weeks straight with me and our dog and our kid and all that jazz. So if you missed the talk with the wife, go back and listen to it. It's kind of hilarious. As usual, we got to get down to some business. You can find us on social media at MiddleAgePod. Hit us up on Twitter specifically. We need some action. We need some follows, tweets, retweets. Tell everybody if you think we're cool. Tell me if you think this is bullshit. Suggest a guest. I don't care. Hit us up on Twitter. Oh, and small announcement here. We now have every episode available on YouTube, so go check us out on YouTube as well. If you need to send an email, middleagecrazypod@gmail.com. And if you're brave enough to give us a call on the hotline, 515-478-3412. And I'm still looking for that perfect first call to play. Make that be you. And a little bit of news about the show. I've been chatting with a couple podcast hosts about getting on their shows, being a guest, doing some interviews, and returning the favor, maybe coming on this show as well for a guest spot. I'm trying to do some cross-promotion. And so when we get that lined up, I'll let you know what other podcasts you can check out. Hopefully I can pull it off as a guest. And if I don't get them on here for a full interview, we still might get them on here for Content Creators Corner. Which is a reminder, if you're out there, you're a podcaster, you're a musician, maybe you make videos for YouTube, whatever. You're putting content out there into the world. You want people to watch it, hear it, or see it. Let's connect. Come on my show for a short interview. We can promote your stuff, and maybe you can return the favor. Let's talk. All right, cool. Let's move on to my guest. Legit, one of my all-time favorite hip-hop producers. And I'm not blowing smoke, I'm not kissing his ass. This is 100% true. I consider the Minneapolis hip-hop scene, especially early 2000s, one of my all-time favorites. And he's one of the best from the scene, so we gotta put him up there, right? Not to mention, when I moved to Minneapolis way back when, we talk about this a little bit, and I was doing some internet radio things, he was one of the first local artists to be really cool to me, share some music, and be friendly, and I really appreciated that. And it doesn't hurt that he's an all-around super cool dude, and he can fix your cell phone if you get in a jam. Let's do this.
Yo, this is Big Jess, a.k.a. Grumpy Old Grandpa. I am 29, but maybe going on 43. I'm from Northeast Minneapolis, currently residing in North Minneapolis, and I'm a hip-hop producer, MC, engineer, and all that good stuff.
Okay, let's get this interview rolling. Super excited to have a guest here today. I'm a big fan of his music and what he puts out, but he's also a cool, down-to-earth guy on the side, and he can fix a cell phone like nobody's business. Big Jess, welcome to Middle Age Crazy. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm happy to be here finally. Somebody was trying to foil our plans a couple times, but if they know me and you, they know that we persist, and they can't hold us down, so it's all good.
It takes a nation of millions to hold us back, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Even though I had some technical difficulties and we weren't able to get the first interview recorded, it gave me a chance to have the wife on the show, which was an interesting exercise. But now we're back to guests, to something I think I can handle.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So once again, thanks for joining us today. Before we get going, like I said in the beginning when we were chatting before we got on, I like to get the business end of things out of the way. So if you have anything current you want to promote, music-wise, or just Twitter handles, social media, whatever you got and you want people to know, let's hit that first.
Yeah, man, I have a website, believe it or not, still. It's bigjessmusic.com. Everything you should need to know should be there, so that we'll just stick with that. That's easy enough.
All right, excellent.
Music-wise, I put out a project last summer called Inspire, and I may or may not have something new this summer. I don't really have anything in the plans, but you know how music works. It kind of can just jump up on you when you're least expecting it. And then all of a sudden you got 8 songs. So who knows?
It is kind of bonkers how that works that way. Cause like I've pretty much filled most of my music free time with this show lately, probably for the last year or so, but out of nowhere a few weeks ago, I just got a musical inspiration and like wrote half of a song, and it was crazy. It just like came out, and that, that hasn't happened in years.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I know a lot of people can go into the studio and write on the spot, and I've never been that guy. I literally wrote everything up until probably 4 or 5 years ago in my school bus. And I just let it come to me. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had an idea when I left for work, I might have a verse by the time I get home in the morning. But I've just never been able to force it. And the 1 or 2 times that I tried to force it on the spot, it was bad. So I was like, I'm not doing that. It's just going to come to me, and that's that. So.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It seems like if I have to force it, 1, it's no fun, but 2, it seems like the output isn't as good anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, man.
Well, let's talk music, because you've been in the game for quite a while. You were one of the first people that I was put onto when I moved to Minnesota, when I moved to Minneapolis in like 2004.
Okay.
Because I had been exposed to Atmosphere and Brother Ali, that sort of stuff. But when I got there in 2004, I was kind of blown away with the music scene there. Tell us just talk about how you got involved in music and kind of how it progressed into the Unknown Prophets.
Yeah. Both of my parents are musicians. They played together when I was a baby. So I think that musical gene was just naturally in me. Yeah, and as a youngster, you know, going to like band rehearsals and stuff, and just kind of soaking up. I mean, they were doing like, you know, Pat Benatar and like not rap, like no rap at all. I didn't really hear rap until probably 4th or 5th grade, I want to say.
Okay.
So I was kind of a little bit late. I was kind of moving around the suburbs a little bit with my mom, and once I got to the city in 4th grade, then I definitely it was a little different music taste wise. But I do remember being like, when I heard it, I was like, this is stupid. I was like, they're just talking. I was like, I was not impressed by it at all. And, you know, I was so young, I just didn't understand what was happening. But when I heard like, I think it was Audio 2 in 5th grade, something just clicked with me. And that was like all I wanted to listen to. That and R&B music. I was like the slow jam cassette tape king as well. But I would say like 5th grade, and then I like right away, like I wanted to be in a talent show with a friend of mine. My dad had a little recording setup. It was like a reel to reel, so it wasn't anything fancy. So he would play. He played like a guitar lick and like looped a 1 bar or 2 bar loop on a little drum machine he had, and I wrote a really cheesy. So that was the start of my cheesiness back then as well. It was so bad. I actually wrote the whole song, and I wrote parts for my friend. So I guess I just started off as a ghostwriter as well. I had no idea, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, it just never really stopped for me. Like I recall like even junior high, just waking up in the morning, and the first thing I did was I turned music on. Like I had to have it. It had to be a part of my day from the beginning. So it was a couple of talent shows in 5th and 6th grade, I believe.
Okay.
And then, I just I wasn't serious about it. It was just a hobby. It was just a love. I didn't have any kind of setup of my own until probably, like 90. No, it was like 2000, 2001, because we recorded world premiere in an actual studio. So
okay.
I didn't really get my own studio until after that.
Ah, okay.
So it was just all a learning thing. It was all me by myself, just kind of putting really bad stuff out. I put some stuff out on Rush It or Flush It, which was a show on KMOJ that you sent your stuff in on the DAT tape, and if they liked it, they rushed it. If they didn't like it, they flushed it, and they would have people call in. And the first couple of songs I did, I was crying. I was like, man, you know, they hate me or whatever.
How old are you when this is happening?
At that point, I was in high school at that point.
Okay.
So I was probably like 10th grade, something like that. 11th grade maybe.
Okay.
And then so prior to that, it was just me messing around. I had no idea that there was a hip hop scene going on in Minneapolis at all. Period. I had no clue. Everything that I knew about hip hop was through whatever I saw in school. So it was, the couple of guys in the talent show that were rapping as well. Videos on the box, that kind of thing. Like I had no idea that there was an actual scene going on in here. So and I graduated in '94.
All right.
It wasn't probably huge, but I know it was going on back then.
When did you partner up with Mike to form a group?
Yep. So Mike was right in the Rush to Flush It days, and I was sending my stuff, and they were being very mean to me. So we were just kind of acquaintances throughout the neighborhood. He was a little bit opposite of me as far as his interests. He was more of he had the holes in his jeans, and he played guitar. So on the talent show, he was doing like Ugly Kid Joe, I believe, or Johnny Be Good or something like that. So
yeah.
He was pretty opposite of the hip hop realm. And then I was playing basketball or whatnot. But we were from the same, neighborhood, and we knew, some of the same people. And we ended up at a friend of ours, who was kind of the house that everybody got in trouble in. Like his mom just didn't care until she really cared. Like we just did everything we weren't supposed to do over there. So he was over there. We were probably, drinking a beer or something, who knows? And then just kind of like started hanging out after that. And, so he knew I was into the rap stuff. And I just remember like him coming up to me at some point, and he was like, man, I wrote a rap song. And I was just like, yeah, okay. All right. Good for you. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like Metal Mike is gonna rap. And, so we just kind of collaborated on, I made some drums and he made a guitar part, and he recorded his stuff on the reel to reel of my dad's, and I was just like instantly blown away. I was like, this is incredible, dude. Like I had no idea. I didn't see this coming at all. So we started to kind of like work together a little bit, and the first song that we did together, it was called A Brighter Day, and we sent it in a Rush to Flush It. Excuse me, and it got unanimously rushed.
Like, cool.
Every call, it was like, I'm feeling that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm no dummy. They didn't like my solo shit, but they liked ours together. So from that point on, it was like, I just wanted to work together. And shortly after that, he coined the Unknown Prophets name. And I was like, yep, that sounds great to me. So that was like, it was probably like 95-ish, maybe.
Oh,
96.
okay. So it was right after high school. Okay.
Yeah, we just kind of kept it moving from like we did a talent show together in our senior year. I want to say we just rapped or lip synced a Crisscross song, and we had our clothes on backwards. It was pretty funny.
Nice.
So from that point on, we just had we had chemistry. You know what I mean? So we just kept working. But that was kind of the start of it, and then it just kind of progressed after that.
When do you start thinking, like, where are you year-wise when you're like, hey, maybe we should start playing some gigs with this?
Well, we were just late to the scene, man. He stumbled upon, like, he was like, there's something going on at this place called the 7th Street Entry. We both I don't think had ever been in there. He may have been in the main room or something. I don't think I ever have.
Okay.
Or had at that point. And we stumbled in, we walk in, and the first person we see is Idea sitting on the long benches in the back.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, guys? He was just totally welcoming. We were just walking into like a place and looking around like, wow, this is wild. And like Slug, I think, was on stage with I think he was maybe even battling like Budokai or something. I don't really recall. But that was kind of our first take at what was going on. We were just like, it was like a drug. We walked in and like somebody stuck needles of music in our arms, and we were like completely hooked.
I can imagine.
And then from that point on, it was like, we got to find out what's going on. So I want to say 96-ish started the Head Spin with Big Zach at Bon Appetit, which was every Sunday night. And we looked forward to that shit all week long. It was like, that's all we wanted to do. And then we were just kind of scoping out, what people were doing on stage. And that was our first performance. They gave us our first performance at that show. I think we maybe had a cassette or something that we just plugged in and rapped over. We didn't have any DJ. And I don't think it was very good, but I do remember that being like our first like official show. Cause everybody was there, like, and we didn't even know who everybody was at the time. Musab was there. Ant and Slug were walking around. Idea was there. Carnage was there. Desdemona, like, Odd Jobs. Like, it was just like everybody that was interlocked. I mean, it was just like, it was the place to be. But for us to get that chance, you know what I'm saying, to like get up there and, you know, turn a few heads and be like, oh yeah, that was dope. You know what I'm saying? So then we started to meet people.
Okay.
But that was the first start for sure.
Well, try to explain, because obviously not everybody listening understands, how can I put the relevance of the Minneapolis rap scene, because I find it pretty impressive myself. And it seems like Atmosphere and Brother Ali, that scene kind of they lasted through, I hate using the term underground. I refer to it as independent, but they made it through the independent scene, and still have success. And it seems like you guys were at ground zero for that scene. What's it like for this scene, which is very important in the whole hip hop history, in my opinion? I mean, Minneapolis has a very important part, especially in the early 2000s and stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%.
What was it like to be there, ground zero, and seeing Idea hanging out and seeing Slug battle before he's even like what I consider a bigger name, and they're doing massive tours? Like, you got to be around all these people in the beginning. What was that like?
Well, when you're in it, you don't really realize what's going on. You know what I mean? Until it's 20 years later, and you're like, wow, you know, we were being mentioned amongst Brother Ali and Atmosphere and Idea, like in the same breath, because we're all tight. We all hung out. We were all, you know, just in the same. We were doing shows together. Like, Rhyme Stairs would put us on and shit. And it was just, I mean, it was like I said. I'll keep going back to, it's like a drug. It was like that's all we wanted to do. And then once we, you know, Rhyme Stairs put us on for our first main room show, it was like, there's so many, you know, there's 1,800 people here. It's sold out at 9:30. You know what I'm saying? Going from Bon Appetit, which is, you know, 75 people, and shit like that. It's just like, when I look back at it, I'm just like, I felt it at that time. I knew it was a big deal. But, you know, when people 20 some years later are like, yo, you know, I was listening to the world premiere when I was in junior high or something, and you guys, you know, this song and that song, like, that's all I ever wanted out of music, dude. Like, to be honest with you, like, I wanted to, like, you know, have Atmosphere and Brother Ali success and maybe more, but for people to just be moved by our art,
yeah, like,
it just takes one person, you know what I'm saying? And I've formed some like brotherhoods through this music thing, and it didn't, in the grand scheme of things, we didn't reach the level that we wanted to, but, you know, I'm a firm believer in things happen for a reason, and there was other things that needed our attention aside from, you know, the music, and I wouldn't change it, man. I think it worked out the way it was supposed to. So I'm just very grateful, dude. To be honest with you, like back then there wasn't as many artists as there are now, because you couldn't record on your laptop while you're sitting in a coffee shop back then. It was more expensive. It was harder to come by. So, you know, the guys that people knew, for us just to be mentioned or thought of, man, it's an honor, to be honest with you. I'm a very humble dude. Like, I'm a confident dude, but, you know, when I look back at it, I just shake my head. I'm just like, I can't believe that it panned out like that. You know what I mean? It just, some people will never be able to experience that, I guess, you know what I'm saying? And they'll just never, you know, I'm just grateful, dude. That's all there is to it.
You definitely handle it well. I mean, because there's enough people out there doing what you do that that are complete dicks.
Yeah,
I think they expect everything. So no, your approach is definitely refreshing, and it's just kind of interesting, because I've tried to explain to people, because I've lived all over the country. I'm back in Iowa for the second time. I've been in Phoenix, Denver. I lived in Minneapolis for 15 years. So I've seen a little bit of the country, and my friends are kind of blown away about how Minneapolis being a medium-sized market, on how you can make music a full-time career if you really want to. Independently too. I mean, there's groups of people that are independently living off of their art, and you don't find that in too many cities. So, I mean, I could only imagine what it was like during the nucleus phase of all that happening. It had to be kind of mind blowing.
100%.
When you guys start thinking about, okay, because you said you did the first album, you cut it in an actual studio, which is kind of interesting. I figured you were started with the 4-track in the bedroom first, because that's how a lot of people start. But you guys went right to the fucking studio.
Well, okay. Well, let's be honest. So that reel to reel that I was telling you about, we put out a tape in the days when when the Bon Appetit stuff was happening, it was called The Prophecy, but we don't really refer to that as anything.
Okay.
Because it was not very, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of just our first kind of like attempt at putting an album together.
Okay.
But that was definitely done by me, but that wasn't my studio. That was my dad's stuff. So I didn't feel like that was my own,
okay,
you know, my own setup, I guess. But so that was just kind of like, you know, that was just kind of a couple dudes messing around trying to find their identity. You know what I mean? But after that, so the A440 studio where we recorded the world premiere thing was right in Northeast too. It was like in the Grain Belt Brewery. It was like in our backyard.
Cool.
And it just made sense. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
we were still both, I believe, at home, so we were able to, like, you know, save up the money, because it was like, you know, $60 an hour in 1999 was a lot of money for a couple 20-something-year-old kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we were, you know, like I said, man, we just learned along the way. I don't ever really recall being in other studio sessions to know how I'm a cheap dude. Like, I knew that if we sat around in the studio and bullshitted, that would cost us money. So I was like, we'd be on the phone before we went, and I'd be like, sometimes I would leave messages like, all right, this is the hook I wrote. Try to get it in your head, memorize it a little bit before we go in there so you're familiar with it. Get your verse ready. And we knocked shit out. Like, you know, we had maybe a 2 or 3 hour session and knocked like 2-3 songs out. Like, we were very efficient.
You gotta be,
but
man.
You really do. I mean, but that was like I said, we didn't know the formula. It was just kind of came instinctively, I guess. Where it was just like both of us knew we had to get in and get out. And the engineer that we work with, shout out to Chris Blood, he was on point, and he ended up doing some of the earlier Rhymester stuff out of there as well. So had a nice little connection from that. So that was dope.
And did you do all the beats for the first record?
I did most of them. Brother Ali did one. He did Mike's Mad Son solo Without My Existence. I believe I did all the other ones. I know there's a couple of ones that me and Mike worked on together. Like The Wrong Route, he actually made the beat, chopped up the sample, and I redid the drums, and I added like a little change up at the end. But that was one that we did together. I'm just trying to think, man. I believe the majority of the other stuff was
okay. And are you strictly MPC at this point? Have you even gone to a computer?
No. That was strictly MPC and a turntable.
Okay.
That was. We had a little box. It was called the Roland MC303.
Oh, I know what that is.
Yeah. So sometimes I would record like a bass note.
Yeah.
Or something else and just put it, because on the pads on the MPC you can transpose stuff.
Yep. So
that's how I would make most of my bass lines, was just recording some kind of sine or an 808 from there.
Oh, dude, I have a Roland 303 sitting in my closet right now.
Yeah, that thing was amazing back then. I thought it was like, aside, if it could sample, it would have been the shit.
Yeah, it was
shit, but it was dope.
I mean, it's like, I think I hate to say the kids, but I think the current generation, you have a great advantage with where the tech is at, but I feel like they almost kind of missed out on the actual hardware days of, you know, having a Dr. Rhythm drum machine or a classic 808 or something, or like, you know, I mean, cause it was just, I don't know, it was an interesting time being able to have your hands on everything.
And that's how I was all the way up until, I got a new computer set up in about 2017. So I've been mostly MPC free since then. So about 3 years. I took my MPC to my job because sometimes I'm so slow. I feel like I've watched the whole internet. So don't tell my boss this, but my MPC is at my job right now.
No shit. That's awesome.
I literally will like Apple Music, some kind of something I find on there that I think is cool, and I'll chop the sample up there, and then I'll come home and lay the drums on my program.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah, but like I was a hands-on dude. I always wanted to like feel the pads and like get the kick in the snare, like that. That was just what I knew. You know what I mean? But to be honest with you, I don't know if you're familiar with Native Instruments.
Yeah, I got a machine.
But I use a program called Battery.
Okay, yeah.
Which looks a little bit like my MPC layout, but it does everything I needed to do and more. It's and the fact that it's MIDI. Like if I laid a beat on the MPC onto my program and I didn't like the drums, I literally would have to go back into the MPC, switch the drums around and then re-record
Yep.
every piece of drum again, where MIDI, obviously, you can just switch it on the spot. And I wanted that forever. And I finally got it. I really have a nice little workflow now that I'm very, very happy at that. I don't have to lug that thing around or whatever. It's dope. I love it, man.
Dude, I know a couple buddies of mine that make beats that you're gonna have to pry that MPC out of their cold dead hands. That are
I get it.
But I get it, dude. It's the foundation of everything. When you guys set to record this new record, since you guys were there at kind of the beginning when everyone was kind of, I guess, same level, was it fairly easy to get Atmosphere and Brother Ali in on that first record?
Well, the one thing I tell people is Mike was always he was the PR guy. He would be the one to go up to people and be like, yo, hey, I'm Mike, I'm blah, blah, blah. And I just played the back. That's just not my style. I just don't take rejection well, I guess is the easiest way to put it. I just don't like to, in my head, I'm like, fuck it, they're going to turn me down. I'm not even going to go up to him. You know what I mean? Where Mike, he's so persistent. Like he was the connection with Idea. Like they made a solid friendship. The Brother Ali thing as well. Like they were such good friends that I remember him telling me he was helping Ali move from one of his places to another place and shit. It was just, so he's that guy. We're the yin and the yang. We're in the studio. I make everything sound good, but he takes care of, like, that's why we were such a good team. Like we were like, we did everything ourselves. Like it just worked out so well, where if I was on my own, nobody would know who the fuck I was, because I wouldn't go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Where now, as I have the connection through Unknown Prophets, where I can maintain it. But yeah. So anyway, so I remember the Brother Ali thing was because they were tight. They were homies, and like we would kick it every now and then, and so that was the easy one. But the Atmosphere one was Mike saying, "Hey man, we got a beat we want you to be on," and he'd listen to it and he'd be like, "It's okay." And then we try again, and then which is fine. Like I'd rather have somebody say they're not feeling it than pull some old Minnesota night shit and be like, "Oh yeah."
I don't know Slug personally, obviously, but that just seems like classic Slug. No, it's all right.
Yeah, for sure. And to be honest with you, like, can you imagine everybody who has hit him up?
Oh, I know.
Since then to try to do that, you know what I'm saying? So I finally found it was like the third beat. It was the Never beat, and I think Mike maybe even had the concept. So when he heard it, he was like, "Yeah, this is the one for sure. Let's do it." And I remember him coming to the studio. He was like, "Yo, I got my girl brought me this car, so I kind of got to get in and out." And I had it formatted into longer bars or two separate verses than what he thought he was going to write. So he literally took, I think, part of a verse and used it as the hook, and then wrote the second verse on the spot, and then recorded it and was like, "I got to go. I got to get this car back." Now, I don't know if he was being for real about the car, or if he just didn't want to hang out with us. But I was like, that's fine. That works. You know what I'm saying? And, for him to be like in that studio with us, where, like I said, he didn't have to be. No. Like he was basically, I think like I said, he wouldn't have done it, I don't think, if he wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? So it was an honor to have him in there. Like the little bit of time that we got to interact was super dope. I'll never forget it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the most known song I think of ours that we've ever put out, because he was on it, and it opened up people's ears to us who maybe would have searched for him and being like, "Oh, he did a song with Unknown Prophets," and they go and check us out. So all respect to that. Like that
doesn't hurt.
For sure, so much ton of respect for that.
Did you guys ever hit the road? You guys do any touring?
Very, very little, minimal. I had my daughter was born in '95, so she was 2 or 3 or 5 when world premiere was coming out. So I couldn't physically do it. Like I couldn't, my conscience wouldn't let me do it. And because I knew, we knew what we had to do. Like Sadiq would tell us, you pressed up your album, now you got to go, you got to get on the road. You got to hand your CDs out to people and give them away for free. And I was like, what, man, we just paid, a couple $1,000s for these CDs, and which we had to borrow money from people because we didn't have it. And I'm like, I got to pay these people back. Like, what are you talking about giving them off for free? So I was just like, I was not on board with that at all. But I, that's what you got to do. But I just was like, I guess my priorities, even though I thought music was my number one, it just never could fully be, for me anyway.
Yeah. Let's Yeah, I'm sorry if I cut you off, but I want to talk about that because it's like, it seems like you guys almost made the conscious choice not to go further with it when you knew you could have, and you could have probably been. It's interesting. It seems like, we're good. We want to do the normal life too.
Yeah, I think that was more. Yeah, I think that was more me though.
Okay.
At the time of world premiere as well, like we had met. I just want to get Willie Luz in here too. We had met Willie Luz at the Dinky Towner days, the Headspin days. He was going by DJ Yoink.
Towner. That was a great place.
And it was fun, man. And obviously Mike goes up to DJ Yoink, aka Willie Luz, and was like, "Yo, you're dope. You want to fuck with us?" Mm-hmm. So he ended up kind of just doing a couple of shows with us, and then we brought him in on the world premiere album to do a bunch of cuts. And we were like, "Dude, this makes sense. You want to be down with us?" And he was like, "All right." So he and Mike would have totally hit the road. I can guarantee you that 100%. Like, they had no kids, they had no responsibilities.
Yeah.
I think Mike was dating his what wasn't wife back then, but Willie would totally went on the road. Mike would have totally went on the road. So it's kind of my fault. I think that was made as, you know, with me, that was like, I just can't do it, fellas. And like I said, Mike never questioned me. He never said, "You're an asshole. I'm going on my own." Like, he was just like, "Word, cool." You know what I'm saying? So we did what we could do with the time that we had available to us. So we did a little East Coast thing for a couple of weeks, and we'd go out to Colorado a couple times a year, and never made it to the West Coast, but we did enough where I'm satisfied. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have liked to do more, maybe, you know, go overseas a little bit and see what that market was like, because I know that they really love their hip hop, especially American hip hop. Yeah. You know, in Europe or whatever. Like, that would have been sweet. But you know what, dude? Like I say, man, things happen for a reason, and I know Willie and Mike, if they really wanted to, would have done it. They would have went on their own. You know what I'm saying? So it just is what it is, man. I like I said, I don't think they dislike me for having that outlook on it, but I couldn't do it, man.
No, and that makes sense, and that's why it's why you guys have such an interesting dynamic, and why I find your guys' story fascinating is it's like, because most people, they strive to be able to get the opportunity to go and quote unquote make it big, and it seems like you guys are like, yeah, we could have, but we tried to do something else. But it's like, it seems like you never lost your clout or your standing in the scene or in town. You know what I mean? It's like, no matter what, you're living the normal kind of regular life. You still put out some discs and shows, but it's like you kind of never lost your spot, if that makes sense. Does it feel like that?
Yeah, I agree. And I think the way that I look at that is like, we were so different with our content from everybody else's too, because we just wanted it. We had something to say, and we wanted to make use of our platform. And I think that even if people didn't like, well, Prophets aren't my ideal group, but they respect when you stand for something, man. People respect that, yeah, whether they agree with you or not. And when we went up to New York, I remember like we were doing a song about like mainstream rappers and shit, and Willie was like, when we left, he was like, "I thought y'all were gonna get your asses beat," but at the same time, like that was our stance. You know what I'm saying? Like, we put it out in a way that's not like, I don't think like we're like trying to threaten people and be like, "You guys will fight all you guys right now." We just like, we got a point, and look at it this way. You know, it could go this way, but we want you to look at it this way too. You know, in peace, and we love y'all, and we're out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like we want to fight everybody. I think that people respect that. So people know our story around here. We made some noise up in the scene, and I don't think that people can not respect that either. But I just think that they knew what we stood for. You know what I'm saying? And whether they agree with it or not, I just feel like we earned their respect because we stood up for it. Even when we were hollering out, you know, Northeast Minneapolis when it was all South Side, they're like, "What? What are you guys hollering?" "Yep, Northeast." "And you got something to say about it?" You know what I mean? So it was like, we were proud of it. And even though people were like, "Yeah, okay, you're from Northeast, I respect it. You know, I'm still going to holler South Side or whatever." But it just I think it comes off in a way where it's not like, we're being dicks about it. I hope not anyway.
No,
but
I think it comes off. I think it comes off very genuine.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm a super genuine dude. Mike's super genuine, and so is Willie. Like, we're just genuine guys. You know what I'm saying? So I think that you have to respect that. You know what I mean?
I'm driving myself crazy because the first time I saw you guys, I can't even remember who you were opening for, but I think it was at Triple Rock. and
Okay.
I wasn't even really paying attention to you guys. And then you said this line, I can't remember. It was something about buying jeans at a store or something that just, I forgot what fucking line it
Oh
was.
yeah. That was probably Old Navy or Cold or some shit.
Something like that, but it was like something like just so realistic. I remember turning my head. I'm like, what the fuck did that guy say? Just because.
I had a line that said, I'm an Old Navy shopper, not a Cristal popper. That was one of them. But like something like that.
I think it was something like that. I was like, what the fuck did that guy say? And that just kind of cracked me up.
It's just the blue collar. It's like the blue collar. It's like the working class rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we love hip hop, but we still gotta live. Like the hip hop never paid our bills, dude. Like we never were able to obviously quit our jobs and rely off what we were getting paid from people buying our albums. And thank you to everybody that ever bought an album. I used to have a drawer full of cash upstairs that we used to go out when we did our little East Coast run or whatever that helped pay for our travels or whatever. But like, I don't even know where the hell was I going with that? What was the question again? I'm old, dude. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I was just talking about the genuine approach and how I heard the first time I saw you guys and the line about the Old Navy shit.
Yep.
So
man.
That's classic. I'm gonna give you a little shit now. All right. I wanted to do it at the beginning to get it out of the way, but I remember the first because you remember the first time I met you, you gave me some CDs because if you remember, I don't know if you remember, I was doing that internet radio station thing, and you gave me a bunch of Unknown Prophets discs or whatever.
Okay.
One of them included Good Clean Fun Part 2. Which I have lost and mentioned several times on social media that I need another copy, and you're always like, dude, I got you. Hold
on. You're in Iowa, bro.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm staring at your copy right now.
Okay. Dude.
Good Clean Fun 2 is in my hands right now. You just tell me how you want it. I'll get it to you.
Dude, you can Dropbox that shit to me. I don't need a physical copy. What am I, a caveman?
Let's get you the physical copy, too. I'll give you both. How about that?
Okay. Blowing my mind.
I got to grab those CDs. I got to get rid of them, so. It'd be my pleasure, man.
And the other thing I was going to give you shit for that I've been engaged with you on social media for how long, and you still don't follow me on Twitter. That's bullshit.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Hold on a second. Hold on. We'll change that right now. But yeah, thank you for that. I'm the type of dude where I'll give so much shit and I'll talk so much shit about things that I'm never going to shy away from people giving me shit. So I appreciate that.
I was just going to bust your balls because I've given you shit on Facebook about it a couple times. You're like, oh, yeah, dude, I got you. So no, it's all good. I just wanted to give you a hard time.
I'm on Twitter right now. What is it?
It's my handle, Chuck T with IC.
What was the internet radio station again?
It was Moonsault Hip Hop Radio.
That's right.
Yeah.
I followed you, motherfucker. You're followed.
Thank you. I tell people, man, I'm like, I was pre-fucking Pandora, man.
Yeah.
Because that Live 365 platform was fucking tight. And then they changed a bunch of fucking rules and copyright law or licensing things, and they wanted you to start paying. I was like, fuck that. But
yeah, I hear you.
It was crazy. Yeah. All I did was upload my rap library to this website and let it go, and fuck, it was kind of cool.
What year? What year was that?
2004.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's how I fucking met you guys, Desdemona, Carnage, fucking Bonafide. Yeah. Like, everyone was giving me their disc locally. They're like, yeah, you'll put it on the internet for free? I'm like, shit, yeah.
Yeah, right. Hell yeah. Wow. Yeah, we're not going to say no to that.
Tell me, what were some of your favorite venues in Minneapolis to play?
Obviously, the main room at First Ave was like the pinnacle. Mm-hmm. That was what we always wanted to get, and every time we got a chance to do it, we never took it lightly. It was always just amazing. Prior to that, when we walked into the 7th Street entry and then met Idea, like we were like, we got to get up there somehow. So getting up there was amazing as well. Triple Rock was always dope. I really liked the setup there.
Yeah.
Fine Line was all right. You know what I mean? I wasn't mad at the Fine Line. Trying to think if there's anything else. Like, I guess the main room was that's what we all strive for. You know, it's just to get up on that main room stage, man. There's really nothing like it around here.
I only have one good Fine Line story. Okay. I was at Fine Line. This was shit. I don't even know what year it was, but Bonafide was opening up for R.A. the Rugged Man.
Oh, shit.
And this was before Rugged Man got his shit together, too. You know, this is like, 05, 06 when he was still kind of a fucking disaster.
Was he like throwing people off stage and like?
Yeah.
I swear he did that at like the Dicky Towner or something.
Dude, he had his shirt off and was running through the crowd and like literally like was bumping into people all sweaty. Oh, it was terrible.
Nice.
But I got fucking shit canned, and I had been handing out, a buddy of mine had an indie label out in California, and I was handing out these sample discs, right? And I literally came down the like stairs of the ramp from Fine Line hammered, and I tripped, and I ran into a dude and I about knocked him over, and I look up and it's fucking Ant. The only time I've ever seen Ant in Minneapolis, right? And he's like, "You all right, dude?" I'm like, "Oh, fuck, you're Ant." He's like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, that's funny.
And I'm like, "Hey, you want my buddy's demo disc?" He goes, "No, I don't want that disc." And I said, "Here, take it anyway." And I like handed it to him, and I'm pretty sure he just tossed it and walked away.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That's my only experience meeting Atmosphere people in person.
That's funny.
So let me ask you this. So you guys decided you want to keep making music and playing local shows and stuff like that, obviously. When did you say, well, I want to keep producing on the side? I want to, do solo stuff. I want to produce other people. Did that just come naturally?
Yeah, that came naturally. That came right away. So I was working with, oh man, I'm trying to think. So it was probably after the world premiere album came out that I kind of started to branch out because they heard the sound on that album. Who did beats. So Mike would obviously PR for me. And I remember bringing my whole MPC 2000 to Musab's house at the time because he wanted me to play him some beats. So I had to I got my son down here. I was loading floppy disks in his house.
No shit.
Because I didn't have a CD burner at that time. So, but yeah, I always wanted to. I always wanted to be, what? You want to get up here? But I always wanted to be, Premier and Timbaland and Dr. Dre. That just sounded like something that was in my DNA. So, like Gamble was a guy from Northeast that he was running with us. So I was making beats for him. And then I think he met Bobby Hatfield, and then we started to work with Bobby Hatfield. So to this day, I still I have my hand in so many things that it's just, I love to work with people. I love to give them the beat and then have them paint over it and make a complete picture out of it. It's just, that process to me it'll never get old. So I'm always doing that. That's why I did the honorable mention project with reaching out to people with beats and having them make songs over it. I can't get enough of that, dude.
Honorable mention is a sore subject around these parts because
I can give you a little bit of ish, huh?
Fuller and I appreciated the invite, and we couldn't have dropped the ball anymore on that if we tried. But
bro, it's all good.
In my defense, if you were going to pick the worst possible time to work with the band Ill Convoy, that was the time.
Yeah, I got you. It's all right. The thing that the offer's still on the table because I'm still going to keep doing them. So maybe we'll just have to revisit another beat and get you guys on there.
Yes, we're trying to get the wheels going on some stuff right now. I actually procured a couple beats from the man Blueprint recently.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And we're trying to kind of get something going. So if that works, we'll turn her back around and talk to Big Jess maybe. But
sounds good, man.
Just
that's life. That's it. That's life happens, man. We don't have deadlines. Like we're not counting on music to provide for our family. So it's all good. Like I'm not tripping at all, dude. It's all good.
Well, hey, buddy.
Yeah, he's just hanging out. He turned 2 in January, and
okay.
And he's my little guy. He's younger than my grandkid, so he was born an uncle.
Dude, that's crazy. We only have one, but we did the old parent thing too. We waited to our 40s. I don't know how. Yeah. I don't know how you're dealing with multiple kids in your 40s because I got a 3-year-old that's fucking killing me.
Yeah, it's tough. He's in a terrible 2 stage too, where he wants mommy for everything. So I could be like, hey, bud, let me get your toothbrush. No, mommy, do it. And it's just all day long, mommy. So, but he'll have his moments where he wants to sit in daddy's lap. So it's all good.
We didn't have terrible 2s. We have just god awful 3s. So
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
I'll tell you, man. To be honest with you, dude, mommy! I've got a pussy mom. I got a kid in 3 decades, dude.
That's
I got a 95 in 07, and then 2018. So they're 11 to 12 years apart, and I know that this is going to be my last kid, and I'm like, he drives me a little crazy, you know what I mean, doing the Terrible 2 thing, but I just know that it's not going to last forever, you know what I mean? So I'm soaking it up, dude. Like, that's fine. You want mommy to do everything? That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still just going to love you up and just not take this for granted, because I know it's going to be over quick, you know?
Godspeed, man.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how you're doing it. As far as the producing stuff goes, side projects, solo projects, what are a couple of the ones that you'd say you're super proud of outside of UPs?
Oh man. So when I did the honorable mention stuff, I was hoping to form some friendships with some of the rappers that I never got to work with and produce for them. So that's easy. The three that popped in mind would be Desdemona, Felix of High Respect, and Carnage. Like, I got to like do almost a whole album with Felix and the majority of Desdemona's last album, and then I had a few beats on Carnage's.
Were you on the Ravenous one?
Ravenous, yeah. I got the T-shirts right next to me because he was just here. So yeah, I got about 3 or 4 beats on there. But then he also like has me add things to like other people's beats. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll come down to the studio and be like, hey, why don't you try to play something like this, and he'll like hum the melody. And so I'm kind of like his little magic guy, where I'll just sprinkle some Scott Storch stuff in there. I guess I'm not that good, but
right on.
But those are the 3 that pop into my head. I obviously, like, I continue to work with Big Zach of Cancer too. So,
dude, I love him.
He's great, man. He's a really good dude. So working with him in Cancer too was something that I wanted to do like for a long time. So when I got a chance to work with them a few years ago, that was amazing. So, but I got, like I said, I got my hands in so many stuff, man. Like, I just can't stop at this point. So I could be doing worse stuff, right?
Yeah, no shit. There's always hookers and coke, you know, you could be doing that stuff. So
I should be doing that, but that's a good thing.
Let me ask you, when you were one of my personal favorites of non-UPs that you've produced is the Bobby Hatfield Brass Knuckle Sandwich is a personal fave.
Oh yeah, man.
That had some do I say mainstream or big name, but that had some I would say what I would quote unquote famous MCs on there.
Yeah.
Did any of them record in your studio? Was Tash in your studio?
He didn't record his verse here, but he was here. I don't know if Bobby brought him here for a show or something, but he came and did like an ad-lib track on that same song. So he added some stuff to something here, but he didn't record the initial verse here.
Okay.
But I met Tash through Bobby like when my daughter was like 7 or 8, and I remember going to a studio session with them and him being like, "Hey, you want $10, little girl?" And so that was just kind of wild for me. I'm like, Tash just gave my daughter $10. That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, he's known Tash, and like, because I think when he was coming up, he was running with Evil E, which was Ice-T's DJ.
Okay.
And then ended up like messing with one of the Taboo from Black Eyed Peas along the way. So he made connections along the way. I don't know how the Skinny DeVille one came about. I don't know if he hit him up or he saw him when they were on tour or something. But that one was just sent to me as well. So.
All right, cool. I still listen to that record. I like that one.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. I think he's changed a little bit. I think he's starting to settle down a little bit as far as like his relationship with his lady and stuff.
Yeah, so. His girlfriend is a really good friend of my wife's. So
nice.
So definitely he's definitely slowing down, which is cool.
That's cool.
He's still a dynamite follow on social media.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he has no filter, which is fantastic. I love it.
I keep trying to get him on the show, but it hasn't worked out quite yet. The other one that kind of surprised me was that record you did with Big Wiz. Just because his kind of crew just seems just kind of a slightly different style and approach.
Sure.
What was it like putting a whole album together with just essentially you're essentially making a new group with another MC.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was awesome, man. To be honest with you, I always forget about that album. And the last podcast I did too, the guy brought it up, and I was like, I always forget about that. But I was so proud of that. Like that came about. Remo Williams, that just mentioned, he was like, "Man, you should mess with Wiz, man." And I was like, "For what?" Like, I don't what? He was like, nah, man, he's a really good dude. And I was like, okay, I'll check some of his stuff out. And I was like, shit, Wiz can actually rap. Like, what was I sleeping on? And Wiz will say, man, I sent you an email like back in the, what was that website?
MySpace?
No, it was like the local DU Nation. Back in the DU Nation days, I sent you a email and you never responded, man. You were hating. I was like, I probably was, to be honest with you. But he sent me a song, or he sent me something, and I think I sent him a beat, and I was just like, let's just make a song together and see what happens. And I was just so impressed by the chemistry that we had that I was like, why don't we just make a couple more songs? And then after we made a couple more songs, I think the next one we made after that was the Beard Game Proper song.
That's the jam.
I was like, dude, this is so, thank you, man. I was like, this is so easy and it comes so natural. Let's see if we can make an album together. And so I would make, the beat and send it to him. And the majority of the time I would already have the topic or whatever. So he basically would just have to fill his shit in, and he would do it so effortlessly and come here and just knock it out that it was so much fun. I am still so proud of that record. It showcased a different side of him. Cause I think I challenged him to kind of go out of his realm of like, cause he likes to rap about weed, and that's fine. But I don't smoke weed, so I can't rap about it. I guess I could if I was a fake rapper, but I'm not a fake rapper. I was just like, I'm going to challenge him a little bit and see what he does. And he just completely stepped up every single time. And I was very, very impressed with him. So, and we just formed a nice friendship, man. We did some shows, and he brought me over to South Side, and, I brought him to Northeast, man. And we formed we put a nice little project out. I think people overlooked it a little bit. I don't know how else we could have promoted it. I thought we did a pretty good job, but I think people were just like, yeah, I'm not going to check it out. But the people who did check it out I think they liked it. So
even if anything, if it was like, we can say, well, at least we got that video out of the collaboration.
Hell yeah.
That's enough for me, because that video is fantastic.
Yeah. Shout out to Abby and Cherry Sky. I don't even know how we got to that beard judging contest. I think the dude with the mustache at the end.
Yeah.
I think he hit me up on Facebook, to be honest with you, and was like, yo, I love the song. You want to come and judge this beard contest? And I was like, bro, my beard is nowhere near yours. And Wiz had just started to grow his out. So I told Abby, I was like, dude, we're going to judge this thing. You want to get some footage of it? Maybe we could get a video of it. And it turned out great. I thought it was fantastic, man. I had no idea that there was that big of a beard community out here, but boy, was I wrong, because they're serious about their beards, man.
Yeah, dude. Beard people don't fuck around when it comes to beards.
They do not.
Well, we're kind of wrapping it up here. I think we covered a lot of good topics. I mean, shit, we could probably talk for hours. We didn't even talk about fixing phones, driving buses, all that shit.
Yeah, right. For sure.
But to wrap it up, as far as the music goes, what's next? What do you got? Is there anything you can share that you got in the works that you're excited about?
What do I got? Yeah, I got a project that came about a month ago, and we're not going to really say much about it. I think we're just going to drop it on people and be like, yo, this is what, we've been working on. It's not my own profits. It's not Matt's son, but it's just like a big Wiz thing. It was like a random kind of connection that came about, and we made a song or two, and then all of a sudden we got 10. So
cool.
And it's basically me on the beats. But it's the majority of them, I want to say, are current beats that I'm making right now.
All right.
So it's not like I had a beat from 6 years ago. Here, you want this one. So it's fun, man, because it's something like, especially in these times that we're confined to the house, that it only makes sense. If you make music, you better make music. Like, you have no excuse not to.
Exactly.
So for me not writing it, it's easy for me to make the beats, and so that's what I've been working on steadily for the past month. I'm very excited about that. What else am I doing? My hand is so much shit. I'm going to forget something too. I just sent Madsen a couple beats where he's very excited about. He's like, I'm working on music, dude. I got the studio set up. What do you got? So that was cool. I don't know, man. I just got so much stuff. I'm mixing a lot of people's stuff. People will send me stuff, and so I'm staying busy. Like, I'm a busy guy in general. My job is still open, so my phone repair place is an essential place. So I'm still working. My wife is home working, and so I'm just balancing the time where I can be in the studio and not feel like I'm missing out on what's going on upstairs. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to balance everything out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun, man. I'm loving where I'm at music wise right now. I did a little battle with Dimitri Killstorm recently, and I came into it and I told him, I was like, I don't really do this as a battle. I just want to play some beats, and I just played beats that were original. I didn't play any sample beats.
Cool.
And they all had this really mellow vibe, the majority of them, and that was fun, man, because I don't want to be just DJ Premier and Pete Rock that can just do what they do.
Yeah.
Because they never seem to do anything different. And I love that they're in my top 5, don't get me wrong, but they're not very versatile. And I always wanted to add something to my production. So the fact that I can do sample bass, I can do original stuff, I love it. You know what I mean? And it just challenges me to keep stepping outside of my box. You know, what am I going to do next? You know what I mean? So, I'm having fun. You know, it's music, you know how music is. It's like a switch that won't turn off, and I could be doing a lot worse things, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm looking forward to what you got coming out. That's for sure. And hopefully, you know, one of these days we'll connect on something. But
yeah, definitely.
But more importantly, I appreciate you taking the time and getting on the show today. So thanks for stopping
by.
My
pleasure.
And
Man.
We'll have to do this again sometime.
I got some other people I'm gonna send your way too, man. I'm gonna be like, you got to get on the Middle Age Crazy podcast. So
yes, please do so.
Keep it rolling, baby.
I'm wide open. Like that's, I said, we don't really have a topic for the show. It's kind of like, are you in your late 30s, early 40s, and you're doing something cool? That's kind of the benchmark. So.
Yep, I know a few people that I think you would love to have on the show, and they'd love to be a part of it. So.
All right, cool. We'll send them my way for sure then.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, once again, I appreciate it. We'll catch up down the road, bro.
Sounds good. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you for listening to Middle Age Crazy, the show that proves being an adult doesn't have to suck. Brought to you by moonsaltmusic.info. Underground and independent hip-hop for the old heads. Free downloads available now. All show inquiries can be sent to middleagecrazypod@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Middle Age Pod. Call us at 515-478-3412. Ask for Janice. Middle Age Crazy is a Greg Valentine and Clarence J. Washington production.